It floated alone in black space, far from trade lanes and safe systems. The planet had no oceans and no green land. Its surface was metal and stone, layered with machines that controlled air, light, and gravity. Above it all stood the Arena City, a wide circular structure where captured beings were tested, judged, and destroyed. The predators called this place a classroom. Others called it a grave. The predators were tall and heavy, with thick bodies made for strength. Their skin was dark and rough, like stone that had learned to move. Their eyes faced forward, cold and sharp. They believed the universe belonged to those who could take it. Weak species were toys. Strong ones were enemies. Humans were something new. The human stood alone in the center of the arena. His name was Aaron. He did not look special. He was not tall by predator standards. His arms were slim, his body plain. He wore a simple gray suit given to prisoners, already torn in places from earlier tests. His hands were empty. His face showed dirt and old bruises, but his eyes were calm. Above him, high on the command platform, the Predator commander watched. The commander was called Vark. His body was larger than the others, his armor marked with symbols of rank. He had crushed many enemies. He had broken warriors who begged before they died. Today, he expected the same. "This is the human," Bach said. His voice echoed through the arena. "A species from a high-gravity world. They claim endurance. We will measure truth." The crowd of predators made low sounds of interest. Screens around the arena showed Aaron from every angle. Other captured beings were locked behind energy walls, forced to watch. "Raise gravity to level 3. The air changed. Aaron felt the weight at once. It pressed on his shoulders, his chest, his legs. It was like carrying a heavy pack that suddenly grew heavier. The floor seemed to pull him down. He bent his knees slightly and took a slow breath. Level 3 was painful for most species. Bones cracked. Organs shifted. Screams were common. Aaron did not scream. He stayed standing. The predators murmured. Vark narrowed his eyes. "Raise it to level 5. The weight doubled. His boots pressed hard into the metal floor. His breathing grew louder, but steady. Sweat formed on his face. Still, he did not fall. Some of the other prisoners cried out from behind the barriers. A small 4-armed being collapsed, unable to stand even under the lower gravity of the holding zone. Vark felt a flicker of interest. Humans endure. Good. Raised to level 7. The arena shook. At level 7, the gravity was meant to kill. Internal bleeding began. Hearts failed. Lungs struggled to pull air. Aaron's legs shook. His back bent. His hands touched the floor. The predators leaned forward. Then Aaron did something unexpected. Instead of fighting to stand, he lowered himself carefully. He sat down on the arena floor, legs crossed as well as the gravity allowed. He rested his hands on his knees and took another slow breath. The crowd went silent. Vark stared. "What is he doing?" One of the Predator scientists spoke carefully.
"He is reducing strain, Commander. Sitting lowers muscle effort."
Bach snarled. He should be begging. Aaron reached into the pocket of his torn suit. The camera zoomed in. He pulled out a small wrapped item. He opened it slowly, using steady fingers. Inside was a flat piece of food, brown and dry, a human ration snack. He took a bite. No. Crunch. Aaron chewed slowly. Predators stared in disbelief. "He is eating," someone whispered. Vark felt heat rise in his chest. Raise gravity to level 8. The weight increased again. Aaron's face tightened. His jaw clenched as he chewed. His shoulders shook slightly. But he kept eating. He swallowed and took another bite. The snack trembled in his hand, but it did not fall. Bark stood from his throne. Impossible. No species eats under execution gravity. Aaron finished the bite. He wiped his mouth with the back of his hand. Then he looked up, straight at the command platform. His eyes met Vark's. He did not smile. He did not glare. He looked bored. That expression hit harder than any insult. Vark slammed his claw down. Level 9. End this. Alarm sounded quietly in the control room. Level 9 was beyond safety limits for the arena structure itself. The gravity pressed down like a mountain. Aaron's body was forced lower. His hands pressed into the floor. His breathing was heavy now, slow and deep. His arms shook hard. Veins stood out on his neck. The snack slipped from his fingers and fell to the floor with a soft tap. The predators leaned forward again, certain this was the end. Aaron stayed alive. His chest rose and fell. Each breath was a battle, but he took it. His eyes closed for a moment, then opened again. He shifted his weight and adjusted how he sat, moving with care like someone used to heavy loads. The scientist whispered, fear entering his voice. "Commander, his body is adapting. Bone density readings are rising under stress. Muscle fibers are engaging in unknown ways." Thok bared his teeth. "He is still prey." Aaron spoke. His voice was rough, pulled through heavy air, but clear. "This is between breath. Home. Pulls harder. The translator worked quickly, sending his words across the arena. Confusion spread through the predators. "What does he mean?" Vark demanded. Aaron took another breath. "My planet. Heavy. We grow under it. We train under worse." Bak. Vok. Laughed. Bak. Lies. No world creates this. Aaron opened one eye and looked up again. Then why am I still here? The question hung in the air. Vark felt something twist inside him. Anger, yes, but also doubt. He gestured sharply. Level 10. The control officers froze. "Commander," the scientist said, voice shaking. "Level 10 risks damage to the arena core." "Do it." The arena screamed. The arena screamed. Metal groaned. Lights flickered. The gravity slammed down with crushing force. Behind the barriers, several prisoners lost consciousness as the field fluctuated. Aaron's body was pressed flat to the floor. His face was inches from the metal surface. Blood trickled from his nose. For a moment, even the predators thought he was dead. Then his fingers moved. They curled. Slowly, painfully, Aaron pushed. His arms trembled like braking machines. His muscles screamed. His breath came out in a long, shaking sound. He lifted his head. The crowd erupted in shocked noise. Aaron planted one knee, then the other. Against impossible weight, he rose into a low, kneeling position. Vark stepped back without meaning to. Aaron did not stand fully. He stayed low, respecting the force crushing him. But he was upright enough to look forward. His voice was quiet now.
"You wanted to see strength," he said. "This is normal.
For us, cracks formed in the floor around Aaron, spreading like dark lines. The scientist shouted, "Commander! Structural failure in progress!" Aaron reached down and picked up the dropped snack. His hand shook badly, but he held it. He took one more bite. Crunch. That sound echoed louder than before. Silence fell again. The predators did not cheer. They did not laugh. They watched, afraid to blink. Vark realized something then. This was not a creature enduring pain to prove pride. This was a species that lived with pressure from birth. A species shaped by a world that never showed mercy. The arena was no longer a classroom. It was a warning. Vark slowly raised his claw. "Hold gravity," he said, his voice tight. The order was obeyed. Aaron stayed kneeling, breathing hard, chewing slowly. The test was not over, but the hunt had changed. And somewhere deep in the Predator commander's mind, a single thought took root, cold and unwelcome. If this was one human, what would many do? The arena lights flickered again as the system strained. The crowd waited. So did the galaxy. The arena shook under the weight of gravity. The metal floor groaned and cracked, sending tiny sparks into the air. The alarms blared as the system struggled to hold the crushing force. Aaron stayed kneeling, breathing hard but steady. Sweat ran down his face, but he looked calm compared to the other creatures in the arena. The other prisoners were not as strong. Behind energy barriers, many struggled to move. A four-armed warrior from the planet Chlor screamed as his joints bent the wrong way. A small insectoid tried to crawl but was pinned flat by the invisible weight pressing it down. The crowd of predators whispered and hissed. None of them expected a human to endure this long, let alone sit and eat, while the world tried to crush him. Vark's eyes narrowed. He could not understand it. His claws tightened around the railing of the command platform. He gestured to the control officers. "Raise the gravity past level 10. Show him the edge of death." The controls clicked. Warnings flashed. The floor trembled harder. The pressure made the air feel thick. Aaron's muscles shook violently, and his bones screamed under the strain. His vision blurred as the blood rushed from his lower body. Every step he had taken in life, every day of training and struggle seemed to meet him here in the arena. Still, he did not panic. He shifted slightly to adjust the weight on his legs. He had trained for environments like this. On his home planet, gravity was heavier than most worlds. Children learned to walk under pressure, to carry weight, to balance in storms that could snap bones if not careful. Humans learned to use the weight, not fight it. It made them slow and deliberate. It made them survive. He reached into his pocket again. Another snack, another small bite. His teeth crushed it easily. The sound echoed in the arena like a mocking signal to the predators. They had expected screams. They had expected begging. Instead, the human was calm, deliberate, and alive. A young alien prisoner, Lyra, watched from her energy cage. She had never seen a human before. Her eyes were wide, her mouth open. She had been captured during a raid and thought she would die soon. But now, watching Aaron, she saw something impossible. Someone who did not break under rules, meant to destroy him. The predators noticed Lyra, staring, and scoffed. "That one will die soon," one muttered. But inside, some felt a cold doubt. Could this human be different? Vark barked a command. "Increase to 11. Test the limits." The arena shuddered. Beams bent, floors creaked. The alarms rang louder. Aaron's body groaned under the force. His knees pressed into the metal like blades. His arms shook, trembling like brittle rods, but he stayed low and kept his balance. The snack in his hand was crumpled, but he finished it carefully, swallowing each bite. One of the predator scientists, a slender creature with many eyes, whispered to Vark, "Commander." "I do not understand. His bones are holding. His muscles, they are contracting in a way we cannot explain. He adapts to the weight instead of failing."
Vark hissed. Adaptation is useless.
"All beings die under level 11. End this." Aaron slowly looked up at the command platform. His lips were dry, but he smiled faintly, almost like a child playing a game. "You do not understand," he said. "Humans endure what kills others. You think this is extreme. Now, this is normal." The predators leaned closer. Vark slammed his claw on the railing. "Explain," he demanded. Aaron's voice was rough, low, strained by pressure but clear. "Home. Planet. Heavy. Humans learn to live with pain. We..." The words echoed through the arena. Some predators looked at each other uneasily. Could it be true? Could a single human, one fragile being by their standards, survive forces meant to kill any other species? The arena system flickered. Sparks flew from the floor. The metal groaned under pressure. Vark raised a claw again. "Level 12, he commanded. The control room hesitated. Level 12 had never been used before. It was dangerous for everyone, not just the human. Panels glowed red. The floor trembled like it might split entirely. Aaron felt the new weight almost crush him. His chest pressed hard against his thighs. He struggled to breathe. Each inhale a fight against the force pushing down on him. His legs shook. His arms quivered. His back screamed. The floor pressed into his knees like stone. Pain tore across his body. Yet he stayed. He lowered his head and took a deep breath. He adjusted his posture slightly, careful not to waste energy. Humans learned to move slowly under weight, to save strength for when it mattered. He had learned it as a child. He had used it in training, in fights, in survival. Now he used it against the predators who thought fear and pain would break him. He reached into his pocket one last time. A tiny snack remained. He unwrapped it with trembling hands. He chewed, slowly, deliberately, making it last. The crowd of predators fell silent. None of them had seen anything like this before. Vark's teeth bared. Impossible. How can he survive? Aaron looked up and locked eyes with the commander. He did not speak for a moment. Then he said simply, "You underestimate humans." The predators gasped. Some stepped back. The young prisoner, Lyra, whispered, "He's not afraid." Aaron's body began to adjust further. His legs spread slightly. His arms braced for stability. Even under unbearable gravity, he found balance. Pain raged through him, but he did not let it control his mind. Humans learn to control pain. Humans learn to use it. Humans learned to outlast it. Varg turned to the scientist.
Explain. This is not supposed to happen.
The scientist shook multiple eyes nervously. He adapts. He endures beyond expected limits. His body, it functions differently under strain. It is frightening. Aaron swallowed the last bite of the snack. He wiped his mouth with the back of his hand. He looked up at Vark again, calm and collected. This
is not special. You
will see more like me.
Vark's jaw tightened. His claws clenched. Every predator in the arena felt tension in the air. Level 12 gravity pressed like a mountain. The floor under Aaron began to crack under the pressure, sending tiny fissures across the surface. Sparks jumped from the fractures. The metal floor was nearing collapse. Still, Aaron stayed kneeling. His breathing was heavy, but controlled. His eyes scanned the arena. He saw the other prisoners struggling. He saw Lyra, wide-eyed and inspired. He saw the predators, tense and fearful. He pushed himself into a low crouch. His hands dug into the floor. The cracks widened under the strain of his body, and the gravity combined. The floor began to buckle. Sparks flew higher. The arena walls groaned. The predators shouted, "Stop! He will break the arena!" Bark raised a claw. Let it continue. Endurance or death. Aaron took a deep breath and forced himself upright. He rose on trembling legs, each movement deliberate, calculated. The crushing gravity pressed like iron bars against his chest, his back, his legs. Pain screamed in every joint, in every muscle fiber. But he did not collapse. He did not beg. He did not falter. For a moment, the arena itself seemed to hold its breath. Then Aaron spoke. Do not give up. We adapt. We adapt.
survive? You,
Cannot crush us with force alone. The predators stared, silent. They had never heard a creature speak like this while enduring death itself. Some of the younger predators felt fear. Others felt confusion. They had never seen strength measured like this. Aaron planted both feet firmly and slowly stood. The floor under him cracked loudly, and sparks flew. Small pieces of metal shifted, but he remained upright. The other prisoners gasped in awe. Lyra whispered, "He is human and alive." Vark felt his confidence falter. He had expected fear. He had expected pain and screams. Instead, he saw a being that made the impossible look normal. Aaron bent slightly, touched the floor, and slowly straightened again. He did not bow. He did not taunt. He simply stood, steady and calm, while the crushing gravity pressed him down. Bah! Growled. Hold gravity. Keep him alive. For observation. The control officers hesitated but obeyed. The arena still groaned. Sparks flew, but Aaron stayed upright. His breathing was steady. His muscles burned. His bones screamed. But he endured. He looked around. Lyra's eyes were fixed on him. The other prisoners watched silently, hope blooming in their hearts. Even the predators could not look away. Aaron wiped sweat from his brow. He reached into his pocket again. No more snacks remained. He clenched his fists and straightened. Well, he would not move unless necessary. He would survive, no matter what. The arena had become a battlefield, but not of weapons or force. It was a battle of endurance, will, and spirit. And Aaron, the human, had already won in a way the predators could not understand. The alarms kept ringing. The cracks widened. The predators whispered. The galaxy waited. Aaron breathed, steady and controlled, ready for the next challenge. The predators had pushed him to the limits, but the human remained calm. He was alive. He was unbroken. And the arena, built to crush life, had begun to question its own rules. The arena continued to shake under the crushing weight of gravity. Metal panels groaned and sparks flew from the cracks in the floor. Alarms screamed in warning tones, echoing across the massive structure. The predators on the command platform stared down, their claws tight on railings, their eyes wide with disbelief. They had expected pain, screaming, and collapse. What they saw instead was a human who stayed calm even as the weight pressed him to the ground. Aaron's knees trembled, his back arched painfully, and sweat ran in rivulets across his face. Each breath was a fight, each movement deliberate. He had learned to move under weight on his home world. Humans did not panic when the universe pressed down on them. They adjusted. They endured. They survived. Now, all that training mattered more than ever. He looked around the arena. The other prisoners, still trapped behind energy barriers, were unconscious or barely able to move. Lyra, the young alien with wide eyes, watched him from her cage. She had never seen a human before, but she already understood something about them. Humans did not rely on brute strength alone. They relied on will. The Predator commander, Vok, leaned over the platform railing. His massive body seemed even larger under the dim lights of the arena. His claws twitched in irritation. "Impossible," he growled. Level 12 was supposed to kill him. How can one human survive forces that destroy entire species? One of the Predator scientists, thin and multi-eyed, trembled as he spoke. "Commander, his body is adapting. Bone density readings rise under stress. Muscle fibers contract in ways we cannot predict. He survives because he does not resist the pressure. He uses it." Vark bared his teeth, a low hiss vibrating through his chest. "Adaptation does not save the weak. End it." The control officers hesitated. They had never pushed gravity this far before. Panels flickered red with warnings. Sparks shot from the floor beneath Aaron. But the human remained kneeling, calm despite the breaking metal and the crushing pressure. Aaron shifted his weight carefully, bracing his hands against the floor. He had studied gravity, studied force, studied survival. This was just another challenge, another test. He had faced worse on his home planet, though none had been watched by 1,000 predators before. He rose slowly, one trembling leg at a time. The cracks in the floor expanded beneath him, pieces of metal bending and popping. Sparks flew into the air, hot and sharp. The predators leaned closer, their eyes wide. Could a single human truly defy death? Aaron stood fully upright. His body shook violently, but his gaze stayed firm. He looked up at Vark and spoke, his voice rough but steady.
"You wanted to see strength. This is strength."
Not by killing, not by fear, but by enduring what crushes you and standing anyway. The predators muttered among themselves. Some were silent, unable to comprehend the sight. Others, younger and inexperienced, felt fear gnaw at their instincts. One whispered, "If one can survive this, what could many do?" Aaron did not wait. He moved. Each step was careful, deliberate. The weight pushed against him like iron bars. The cracks beneath his boots widened. Sparks flew higher. The floor trembled dangerously. Behind him, other prisoners watched silently, hope rising in their hearts. Lyra's eyes followed every movement. Vok roared in frustration. "Stop him! He is alive because of his own insolence. Use force!" The predator guards moved, heavy and armed. They were strong and fast, but even their bodies struggled under the extreme gravity. Aaron watched them, analyzing their movements. Humans had a strange advantage. Where the predators relied on sheer power, Aaron relied on understanding. He knew how gravity worked against them as well as himself. A guard lunged at him. Aaron stepped aside slowly, letting the predator stumble under its own weight. Sparks flew as the guard's claws scraped the cracked metal floor. Another guard charged. Aaron crouched, lowering his center of gravity. He twisted his body, using the predator's momentum to push it toward a weakened section of the floor. The metal bent under the combined weight, and the guard collapsed with a roar, pinned by gravity. The arena erupted into chaos. Predators shouted. Vark's voice boomed over the alarms. "Do not let him control the arena. Kill him." Aaron ignored them. He kept moving, each step careful, deliberate. The cracks in the floor expanded as he passed, weakening sections for later use. Sparks flew around him, lighting his face in flashes. He crouched low and shifted again, using his own strength to balance against the crushing weight. Every motion was calculated. Every motion conserved energy.
Oh.
He reached the edge of the arena where the gravity control panels were housed. The predator scrambled to intercept him, but the human was too fast under his careful movements. He used their own weight against them, shoving, twisting, dodging. One guard tried to grab his arm, only to be pinned by its own mass, struggling to lift a limb that was far too heavy. Aaron climbed the stairs to the control platforms, slowly, carefully, each movement sending sparks down the metal steps. Vark's face twisted in rage. "Stop him! He cannot reach the controls!" The gravity panels glowed red, warning lights flashing. He pressed a hand against the nearest control, feeling the power that had crushed him moments ago. The predators tried to grab him, but their weight slowed them. Aaron's fingers moved across the switches with precision. He could feel the limits of the system. He could feel how fragile the arena had become under its own force. He paused, catching his breath. The predators shouted and clawed at him, but Aaron ignored them. One hand rested on the gravity control switch. He looked out across the arena. Sparks flew from the cracks. The metal groaned. The fallen guards and unconscious prisoners lay scattered across the floor. The crowd of watching predators fell silent, unsure of what to do next. Aaron pressed the switch. Gravity changed instantly. The crushing weight that had pressed him down now shifted. Some predators were pinned. Others stumbled. The arena floor cracked further, sparks flying in all directions. The structure moaned under the stress. Aaron moved quickly now. He freed the energy barriers holding the other prisoners. Lyra stumbled out first, her eyes wide with wonder. How are you alive?" she whispered. Aaron smiled faintly. "Humans, endure what others cannot. Stay close." "Follow me," the predators shouted and tried to regain control, but it was too late. The arena was failing under the pressure, the gravity, and Aaron's calculated movements. The human led the freed prisoners across the floor, avoiding falling metal panels and sparks. Vark's roar echoed across the arena. "You will die, human." "You cannot escape." Aaron stopped and looked back at the commander. He did not shout. He did not charge. He simply said, "You tested me with force. You failed. Humans survive, not because they are stronger than you, but because they endure what you cannot imagine." The predators hesitated. Fear spread through them. Some wanted to attack. Others wanted to run. The arena itself was unstable now. Metal panels fell, sparks exploded, and the floor cracked deeper with every movement. "Move! Out of here!" They ran, stumbling under the gravity that still pressed heavily down on them. Aaron covered the rear, moving slowly but steadily. He used his weight and balance to block any predators who tried to stop them. Each step was deliberate, careful, Every movement preserved energy while crushing the enemy's momentum. Vark watched, rage and disbelief twisting his face. He had expected one human to die under impossible force. Instead, he saw a species that adapted, survived, and now led prisoners in defiance. Sparks and debris flew around him as the floor buckled beneath the combined weight of gravity and movement. He pushed forward, helping others climb over fallen metal and broken barriers. Lyra ran beside him, eyes wide but determined. The predators attempted to regroup, but Aaron's careful strategy and the prisoners' momentum carried them past every obstacle. The human had turned the arena itself into a weapon against its masters. Finally, Aaron reached the outer doors of the arena. They were thick and reinforced, but even these could be bypassed with calculated pressure. He planted his feet, adjusted his weight, and pressed hard against the panels. The heavy metal groaned, sparks flew, the doors cracked. Bach's roar filled the arena. "You will not leave! I command you!" Aaron looked at him one last time, calm, steady, unbroken. "Endure. You cannot stop us with fear."
You cannot stop us with force. You cannot stop us.
With one final push, the doors bent and cracked, opening a path to freedom. The prisoners rushed through, following Aaron. The arena trembled, falling apart under its own weight in the failure of the systems. Sparks flew in every direction. Metal twisted. Alarms screamed. Aaron was the last to leave, moving carefully, deliberately. Behind him, the arena groaned and sparks exploded, a monument to failure and human endurance. He glanced back once, seeing the chaos he had caused. The predators stared, unable to comprehend how one human had survived, adapted, and turned their weapon against them. Outside the arena, the prisoners breathed fresh air for the first time in weeks. Lyra turned to Aaron, eyes shining. You are not like anyone I have seen. How did you survive?" "Humans. Endure, that is all." Lysau. The predators watched from the shattered platform. Vark's face was pale with anger and fear. He realized in that moment that testing humans had been a mistake. Aaron had survived impossible weight, defied expectation, and led the prisoners to freedom. And somewhere deep in the galaxy, the story of the human who rose under crushing gravity was beginning to spread. The human had won, and the predators had learned something they would never forget. The arena outside the main doors was a wasteland of twisted metal and sparks. Smoke rose from broken panels, and the air smelled of burning circuits and ozone. The gravity still pressed down, though less than inside the arena itself. Aaron moved carefully, leading the prisoners into the open space beyond the crumbling structure. His breathing was steady, controlled, though every muscle ached. Each step was measured, precise, because one wrong move could mean death, not from gravity, but from the collapsing structure around them. Lyra stumbled behind him, still wide-eyed, her small body struggling to adjust to the change in weight. How are you doing this?" she asked, her voice trembling with awe. Aaron did not answer immediately. He scanned the area, taking in every detail. The weak spots in the arena's walls, the fallen predators struggling under the heavy gravity, the sparks that threatened to ignite exposed machinery. "Focus on your steps," he said finally. "Gravity is still strong. Keep your balance." The prisoners, exhausted and scared, followed his instructions. They moved slowly but steadily, trusting the human who had survived what no other being could. Their fear was replaced by a new emotion: hope. From the broken command platform above, Varg watched with fury. His massive body trembled as he leaned over the edge. Do not let him escape. Kill him before he leaves this arena. Aaron turned his gaze upward. The predators were scrambling, but their bodies were still heavy with residual gravity. They could not move as fast as they wanted. He noticed a weak support beam near the platform and calculated its breaking point. Humans were trained to use weight against force. Aaron smiled faintly. He pressed down on the metal floor with both hands, shifting his weight to create a small shockwave. The weak beam bent and snapped, sending sparks and debris down toward the predators. They shrieked and stumbled back, forced to retreat for the first time in the arena. Lyra gasped. You're using the gravity against them. Force is only useful if you understand it. Step carefully and follow me. The prisoners continued moving, led by Aaron's careful pace. Some of the larger species could barely stand under the heavy gravity. Aaron would pause, support them, or push small debris out of the way. His calmness reassured them. He did not rush. He did not panic. Humans had learned to survive long journeys under impossible conditions. That skill made him a leader now. Vark roared again, signaling his guards to charge. Do not let him control the arena. Kill them all! 2 guards lunged from the broken command platform. Aaron watched them carefully. He did not move immediately. Instead, he waited for the moment when the gravity pulled their weight against their own strength. When they stumbled, he shifted slightly and stepped aside. Their momentum sent them crashing into a fallen panel, pinning them partially under the metal. Sparks erupted as their claws scraped the floor. Another guard charged, but Aaron was ready. He twisted his body under the weight, using their own force to throw the predator against a weakened support wall. The metal groaned and the wall cracked. The predator collapsed, trapped under debris and gravity. The arena trembled more. The heavy structure groaned, parts of it collapsing under its own weight and the added strain of Aaron's careful maneuvers. Sparks flew in all directions. Some of the prisoners cheered quietly, amazed at the human who moved so deliberately under pressure. Aaron reached a narrow passage leading toward the outer perimeter. It was partially blocked by twisted metal. He stopped and looked back at the prisoners. One at a time. Stay close to me. Step carefully. Use your weight to your advantage. The prisoners obeyed. Each one moved through the passage slowly. Aaron went last, helping anyone who stumbled. Lyra followed closely, her trust in Aaron absolute. She had never met a human before, but now she understood something essential. Humans endured when others failed. From above, Vak's voice boomed in frustration. This cannot happen. One human is not enough to defy my arena. Strike him down now. Aaron smiled faintly and pressed his hands on another weak panel. It buckled under the combined force of his weight and gravity. Sparks erupted, and a section of the arena roof fell toward the platform above. Predators scrambled to avoid the debris. Vark hissed in rage, realizing that the arena itself was now working against him. Aaron did not pause. He guided the prisoners through a corridor leading to the outer wall. The metal groaned, sparks flying from the overloaded power conduits. The floor beneath them cracked further, but Aaron moved deliberately, careful not to lose balance. Each step was precise, each movement calculated to minimize energy and maximize efficiency under the crushing weight. The predators tried to regroup. Vark called for reinforcements from the lower levels. More guards rushed forward, but their bodies struggled under the heavy gravity. Aaron watched them carefully, predicting their movements. He shifted his own weight slightly, causing a section of the floor to tilt. A guard lunged, only to stumble into a weakened railing and fall heavily. Lyra gasped again. He's using everything around us as a weapon.
Learn quickly. Force is only useful if you understand it.
We survive because we use our environment, not fight blindly against it. The prisoners continued their escape, following Aaron's lead. The outer wall was near. Beyond it was open ground and less weight pressing down on them. Freedom was close, but the predators were still a threat. Aaron paused at the wall. He looked up at the collapsing arena, sparks and smoke filling the air. Vark's silhouette could be seen at the top, glaring down. The commander's massive body trembled with anger and disbelief. Aaron raised a hand and pressed a switch he had found near the wall. The outer gate, thick and reinforced, began to open slowly. Vark roared. "Stop them! Do not let them leave alive!" He helped the first prisoners through the gate, steadying their steps under heavy gravity. Each prisoner moved carefully, trusting him completely. Lyra followed, her small body trembling but determined. The predators tried to block the gate. Aaron used his knowledge of weight and balance. He shifted slightly, using their own momentum to push them away from the gate. One predator guard stumbled and fell outside, trapped by the heavy gravity that still pressed down. Aaron moved last, crouching slightly to protect his back. Sparks flew around him as pieces of metal from the collapsing arena fell. He balanced carefully, using his weight to keep steady. When he reached the gate, he pressed forward, the massive door finally giving way. The prisoners stumbled into open ground, breathing fresh air for the first time in weeks. The gravity was lighter here, easier to manage. They collapsed to the ground, exhausted but alive. Lyra turned to Aaron, eyes wide with admiration. You saved us all. How did you survive the arena?" Aaron smiled faintly, brushing dust from his suit. "Humans endure. That is all." From the shattered arena, Vark's voice boomed, filled with rage. "This is not over. One human does not defeat an empire." Aaron did not respond. He looked at the freed prisoners. They were exhausted but safe. He had turned the arena itself into a weapon against its masters. He had used his strength, his mind, and his understanding of force to free them all. The predators were left behind, trapped under their own weight, unable to move quickly enough to follow. The arena was collapsing, sparks and metal flying everywhere. Aaron watched calmly, breathing steadily. The human had survived impossible weight, adapted, and now led others to freedom. The galaxy would hear of this. The predators would remember. The story of the human who moved under crushing gravity, who freed prisoners, and who turned the arena against its masters would spread. Aaron looked at Lyra and the other freed prisoners. "Stay together. Move carefully. We are not safe yet, but we are free." They nodded, exhausted but determined. The predators were not finished, but they were behind. Aaron had turned survival into victory. The arena had fallen, the prisoners were free, and one human had proven that endurance, will, and calm could defeat even the greatest force. Aaron's eyes scanned the horizon. The galaxy was wide. Danger still existed. But for now, they had won, and the predators had learned something they would never forget. Humans endured. Humans survived. Humans adapted. And one human had changed the rules of the game forever. The sky above the arena world was dark with smoke and sparks. The metal towers of the city leaned at impossible angles. Pieces of the arena structure had collapsed, leaving jagged openings where humans and other prisoners had escaped. Aaron stood on a small rise of broken metal, looking back at the ruined arena. Sparks flew from the remaining towers, and the predators moved among the wreckage, heavy bodies pressing against the weakened gravity. He could feel the tension in the air. The predators had survived the collapse so far, but they were disorganized, unsure how to proceed. Aaron's eyes swept across the horizon. Beyond the broken arena, the open space allowed for movement. Freedom was possible, but the predators would not give it easily. "Stay close," he said to Lyra and the other prisoners. "Keep your eyes open. Watch each other's steps. Don't panic." The prisoners nodded, exhausted, their breathing ragged. Some limped, some stumbled, but all followed his instructions. Humans had trained under weight, under pressure, under impossible conditions. Aaron had taught them through example that calm and careful movements mattered more than speed or brute force. From the ruins above, Vark's voice echoed. "You will not leave alive. Attack them! Show them the price of defiance!" Predator guards began to organize. They formed clusters, heavy bodies moving against the weakened gravity, attempting to block exits and push back the human-led group. Sparks flew as twisted metal caught on claws and feet. Aaron studied their movements carefully. He had already observed how gravity slowed them, how their heavy mass made quick adjustments difficult. He motioned for the prisoners to spread slightly, using their own weight to create openings. They moved deliberately, carefully, using the broken terrain as protection. The predators lunged, but Aaron anticipated each strike. A guard tried to grab Lyra, but Aaron shifted his weight just in time, forcing the predator into a fallen support beam. The guard crashed against the metal with a roar. "Move!" Aaron shouted. "Keep going!" The prisoners advanced. Aaron stayed behind the group, covering their rear, using the remaining debris and gravity to his advantage. Each predator attack was met with precise, careful action. One predator tried to trap him against a twisted wall. Aaron leaned slightly, shifting his weight, and the predator stumbled, trapped by its own mass. Lyra gasped. He's using everything around us as a weapon." Aaron nodded. "Force is only useful if you understand it. The arena is designed to crush us. We use it instead." They reached a partially destroyed control building. Inside, Aaron saw panels that could shut down remaining gravity fields or block predator reinforcements. He pushed open the doors carefully, using the weight of the falling metal to keep predators outside for the moment. Sparks flew as he reached the panels. "Hold this position," he instructed the prisoners. "We need to control the gravity. It will slow them and give us time." Lyra and others followed his instructions, stabilizing small sections of the crumbling building while Aaron worked on the panels. He pressed buttons carefully, recalibrating the gravity systems. Slowly, the crushing weight pressing down across the open field lessened slightly, enough to give the prisoners more mobility. Outside, Vark roared in frustration. His massive body shook with anger. "Do not allow them to control the arena. Attack! Kill them now!" Aaron turned to the prisoners. "We are not just surviving. We are taking control. Every move counts."
Stay together. Trust your steps.
The predators advanced again, but Aaron was ready. He used sections of debris to block them, to trap their heavy limbs. The arena itself worked against the predators, weakened by collapse and gravity shifts. Sparks flew, metal groaned, and predators struggled to maintain balance. Aaron moved forward, carefully stepping over a fallen panel. A predator lunged at him, claws extended. He shifted his weight, using the predator's momentum against it. The creature fell into a deep fissure in the arena floor, trapped by the uneven metal and residual gravity. Lyra and the other prisoners followed closely, inspired by Aaron's calm leadership. Each step was deliberate, Each action was measured. Fear had turned into hope. The predators had expected chaos, screaming, and death. Instead, they faced organized movement, intelligence, and calm under pressure. Aaron's eyes scanned the horizon again. In the distance, small flashes of light appeared. Ships, human ships, not enough to fire heavy weapons, but enough to block escape routes and warn predators. He smiled faintly. Humanity had not abandoned them. The predators noticed the ships on their scanners. Confusion spread among them. They had underestimated humans. One whispered, "Human reinforcements?" Aaron did not wait. He used the remaining gravity controls to weaken the areas closest to the predators. Large metal beams fell, blocking their paths and forcing them to slower, more careful movements. The prisoners followed, guided by his calm voice and steady example. Vark's fury was growing. One human cannot command the arena. "Do not allow them to escape!" Aaron moved to the edge of the field. Looking back at the arena, sparks flew from the collapsing metal. Smoke filled the air, and the predators struggled to keep balance. He knew their panic would grow. They could not move fast under weight and instability. Humans had endurance, patience, and adaptability. The predators had force, but they had not learned to survive pressure in the same way. Aaron turned to the prisoners. "We are close. Stay alert. We are free, but freedom requires attention. Do not rush. Move carefully." They followed, stepping over metal debris, avoiding sparks and cracks in the floor. Aaron used his knowledge of force and balance to block predator attacks. One predator tried to lunge from above, but Aaron shifted a piece of debris just in time, sending the creature stumbling into another support beam. The prisoners reached a ridge overlooking the open plains beyond the arena city. Aaron paused, breathing heavily but steady. The predators below struggled to regroup, slowed by the uneven metal and gravity adjustments Aaron had made. Sparks flew from exposed wiring and smoke rose in thick clouds. From the horizon, more human ships arrived, small and fast. They did not fire immediately, but their presence was a warning. Vark noticed the ships, his massive body trembling with rage and uncertainty. His forces were disorganized, unsure how to respond. Aaron looked at the horizon and then back at the prisoners. Humans endure. Humans adapt. Humans survive. Today, you have seen it. The prisoners cheered quietly, still careful under gravity, but filled with new hope. Lyra smiled, her eyes shining. "We are free because of you. Because we do not give up. Because we do not panic. Because we endure what others cannot imagine." The predators were left behind, trapped under their own weight and the shifting arena. The arena had collapsed further, sparks flying, metal falling, and systems failing. Aaron's careful planning and understanding of force had turned the arena itself into a weapon against the predators. He led the prisoners toward a safe zone, away from collapsing towers and falling debris. The human ships remained on the horizon, ready to intervene if needed. The galaxy had begun to see the strength of humans, their endurance, and their ability to survive under impossible conditions. Vark's voice roared one final time, full of frustration and fear. "This is not over, human. The arena does not forgive." Aaron did not respond. He focused on the safety of the prisoners, guiding them carefully over broken metal and cracks in the ground. Every step was deliberate. Every move was calculated. Freedom was close. The predators were behind. The human-led group moved steadily toward open land, the first step toward escaping the arena world entirely. The galaxy would remember this day. The story of one human who survived impossible weight, adapted under pressure, and led prisoners to freedom would spread across star systems. Aaron paused for a moment, looking back at the ruined arena. Sparks and smoke rose from the collapsing towers. The predators below struggled to move. One human had changed the rules of the game. One human had survived. One human had led others to freedom. The galaxy would never test humans the same way again. Aaron had proven that endurance, intelligence, and calm under pressure were more powerful than force alone. He turned to the prisoners.
We move now. Stay together.
Stay alert. Freedom is ahead, but we must reach it carefully. The group moved forward, each step precise under the lingering gravity. Aaron's calm presence guided them. The predators were behind, trapped by their own weight and panic. The arena had fallen, its systems failing, but humanity had endured. Aaron had survived impossible pressure, led others to freedom, and shown the galaxy that humans adapted where others broke. The horizon opened before them. Beyond it lay safety, open plains, and a chance to regroup. Aaron led the prisoners carefully, every step a lesson in endurance and calm. The arena behind them was a monument to human survival. The predators had learned a lesson they would never forget. Humans endured. Humans survived, and one human had changed the rules of an entire galaxy. Aaron led the group of prisoners across the open plains beyond the ruined arena. The ground was uneven, littered with twisted metal, broken panels, and scorched earth from the arena's collapse. The gravity was lighter here, though still heavier than some of the prisoners' homeworlds. Aaron's steps were deliberate, careful, guiding each person over obstacles, helping anyone who stumbled. Lyra and the others followed closely, their faces showing a mix of exhaustion and hope. For the first time in weeks, the air felt open, not pressed down like it had inside the arena. Behind them, the shattered arena still groaned and smoked. Pieces of metal collapsed, sparks flew from exposed wiring, and the predators who had survived the initial collapse struggled to regain control. Vark's massive form loomed on the higher remains of the arena structure, his claws digging into bent metal, his eyes full of rage and disbelief. "Do not let them escape!" he roared. "Hunt them down. Kill every last one of them." Aaron did not turn to look. He knew the predators would try, but he also knew that fear and force were not enough against someone who understood weight, balance, and endurance. He stopped on a small ridge and motioned for the group to rest for a moment. Each prisoner collapsed lightly to the ground, taking deep breaths, recovering from the exhausting escape. "You did well," Aaron said quietly, his voice rough from the strain of the past days. "You endured when it counted. You survived because you stayed calm. That is strength." Lyra looked at him, eyes wide and shining. You survived the impossible. You freed us all. How can one human do this?" Aaron smiled faintly, brushing dirt from his suit. "Humans? Ah, 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 endure. That is all. We survive because we do not panic. We learn to use the world around us, even when it tries to kill us. That is why we are dangerous." In the distance, small flashes of light appeared in the dark sky. Aaron's eyes narrowed. Human ships. They were faster and smaller than the predators expected, but enough to intercept anyone trying to flee. The ships moved into position, forming a perimeter around the open plains. The prisoners' faces lit with relief. Safety was near.
Aaron stood, brushing off his suit. "We move now," he said firmly. "Stay close. Watch each other's steps. The predators are behind, but they cannot match humans in endurance or strategy." The group began moving again, slowly but steadily, guided by Aaron's calm and deliberate pace. Behind them, the predators scrambled, disorganized, and slowed by their own weight and the broken terrain. They tried to organize, tried to block paths, but the collapsing arena and Aaron's careful leadership made it impossible. Vark's voice roared over the chaos. "Do not let them reach the plains. Attack now!" A few predator guards charged across the rubble, attempting to cut off the human-led group. Aaron noticed them immediately. He shifted slightly, using his weight and balance to guide a large piece of debris into their path. Sparks flew as the predators stumbled and fell, trapped under the twisted metal. "Step carefully," Aaron instructed the prisoners. "Use your balance. Do not panic. Move deliberately." They followed, moving over the broken ground. Lyra stumbled, but Aaron was there to steady her. The other prisoners watched and mimicked his careful movements. The predators lunged, but every attempt failed. Aaron understood force, gravity, and momentum better than anyone there. He used them all, not to fight blindly, but to survive and lead. The human ships above had begun firing small warning shots, not to harm, but to force any predators trying to flee into positions where Aaron and the prisoners could handle them. The combination of careful movement, strategic use of debris, and human fleet intervention left the predators trapped and disoriented. Aaron looked at the horizon. Beyond the plains, there was open terrain, safety, and eventually human-controlled space. He guided the prisoners steadily, ensuring no one was left behind. Each step was careful, deliberate, measured. Humans had learned to survive under impossible conditions, and now that skill ensured the freedom of all of them. Some predators tried to regroup near the broken arena. Vark's form was massive, his claws flexing with rage. "You cannot escape," he bellowed. "One human is not enough to defy an empire." Aaron stopped and looked back at him.
"You tested us with force. That is your mistake," he said calmly.
"We endure. We survive. And we do not panic." Vark snarled and charged, his massive body leaning forward. Aaron shifted slightly, adjusting his stance for balance. As Vark slammed into a partially collapsed metal pillar, it gave way, throwing the predator off balance. Sparks flew, metal twisted, and Vark stumbled back, forced to retreat. The prisoners moved past, guided by Aaron. Their trust in him was complete. They had seen impossible weight, crushing gravity, and now the predator's desperation. Aaron's calm and deliberate actions had turned fear into confidence, chaos into organized escape. The human ships approached closer. Small landing crafts touched down on the plains ahead. Soldiers and medics poured out, ready to help the escaped prisoners. Aaron led the group toward them, ensuring everyone reached safety. Lyra ran beside him, eyes bright with relief and gratitude. As they reached the ships, Aaron paused and looked back. The arena lay in ruins, smoke and sparks rising. Predators remained, but they were trapped by the collapsed structures, the gravity, and now the approaching human forces. Aaron's actions had turned their own arena into a trap. Vark's voice echoed one final time, full of rage and disbelief. "This is not over, human. We will return." Aaron did not answer. He guided the prisoners aboard the ships. The fleet above formed a protective circle, ensuring no predators could escape. As the ships lifted off, the arena world became smaller beneath them. Smoke rose from the destroyed structures. Sparks flew from collapsing metal towers. The predators were left behind, unable to follow. Inside the lead ship, Aaron allowed himself a moment to breathe. His body ached, every muscle sore from the extreme gravity, the collapse, and the struggle. But he was alive. Every prisoner was alive. Humanity had survived and adapted. He had led them to safety. Lyra sat beside him, still trembling but smiling.
You saved all of us. How?
How did you do it? Aaron looked out the window at the shrinking arena world. We endured. We adapted. We survived. Humans are not the strongest, but we endure what others cannot imagine. That is all you need to know. The prisoners began to relax, their exhaustion overwhelming the last traces of fear. Aaron remained alert, scanning the horizon, watching for any signs of predators or ambushes. He had survived impossible weight, turned the arena against its masters, and led prisoners to freedom. Now, he ensured they remained safe. The fleet moved steadily away from the arena world. Smoke rose behind them. Sparks and metal twisted in the air, a monument to human endurance. Vark and the surviving predators remained trapped, unable to act against humans who had learned to survive what others could not. Aaron allowed himself a faint smile. One human had changed the rules. One human had survived impossible pressure, crushed by gravity meant to destroy him, and had led others to freedom. The galaxy had begun to learn the truth about humans. Endurance, patience, intelligence, and calm under pressure were more powerful than raw force. The prisoners whispered among themselves, amazed by what they had witnessed. They had seen one human survive what no other creature could endure. They had seen him fight, not with weapons alone, but with will, knowledge, and understanding of his environment. Aaron stood, looking out at the stars ahead. The galaxy was wide. Danger still existed. Predators would not forget. They would not forgive easily. But humans had survived, adapted, and proven that even impossible odds could be overcome. He turned to the prisoners. We are safe now. Rest, recover, learn from what you have survived. Remember this: humans endure, humans survive, humans adapt. That is our strength. The ships moved further into space, leaving the ruined arena behind. Smoke and sparks rose from the collapsing towers, a testament to human endurance and intelligence. Aaron watched silently, his body sore, his mind alert, but his spirit calm. In the galaxy, stories would spread. One human had survived impossible weight. One human had turned an arena designed to kill into a weapon against its masters. One human had led others to freedom, and the predators would never forget. Aaron finally allowed himself to sit, resting after the impossible ordeal. The stars stretched endlessly ahead. He had endured, survived, and led others to freedom. The galaxy had begun to learn a lesson that would echo across systems. Humans did not break under pressure. Humans did not give up. Humans endured, and one human had changed the course of the galaxy forever. The fleet moved on, carrying the survivors to safety. The arena world fell behind them, smoking, twisted, and silent except for the groans of metal collapsing under its own weight. The predators had lost, but the galaxy would remember the human who had risen under impossible gravity, who had led prisoners to freedom, and who had proven that endurance and calm could overcome any force. Aaron leaned back, closing his eyes briefly. For a human, this was just another challenge overcome.
But for the galaxy, it was a warning. Humanity endured, survived, and adapted. And they would not be underestimated again.